Welcome. I'm Dice, and I'm joined again by Izala.
Hello.
And we're catching up. We just killed our first war machine god. And then we see this. Very happy, cheerful event.
And music.
Music's still good.
Honestly, this could be a scene out of Final Fantasy X.
The whole gang's here tonight.
How'd that happen?
Don't know. Destiny?
More like dumb luck.
Let's go find him.
Excuse me.
See you around.
You know.
There's very
Not that I want
happy
to.
people in this one compared to the seaside villages in 10.
That's true.
She said she'd be at the usual place.
Thanks.
Oh, is that another unique character model?
Sorry about that.
Well, we've seen her.
Now, who'd you say you were looking for?
I'm sure she won't be important at all.
Probably not.
Here goes.
But can you imagine they had a bartender that's also like a fighter? That's so weird.
Which number heaven is this?
Well, it's day 11.
Making a wish?
Maybe I was. I was hoping that tomorrow I can tell my sister. She'll be so mad, knowing I hid it from her.
Who's her sister?
Don't worry. I'll take the blame for you.
I wonder.
You know, you should ask for something bigger. These are wish-granting fireworks, like in the stories.
Stories, huh? We'll see who fulfill their focus
It could wholly be a
Become
blitzball
crystal.
arena, right?
and gain eternal life.
It definitely looks like it.
Would help
Maybe in
if they
ancient
gave you
times.
Some clue about what you're supposed to do.
You mean the future past?
Yes.
We'll figure this thing out. You will never be one of those monsters.
So what
Man,
will
why is
I
that
be?
glowing in the background? Is it normally like that?
It's a bit of like, what is it called if you foreshadow in a flashback?
Yesterday at the store, I got us something. Don't know much about jewelry, but I hope you like it. I will stand
It's
by
the
you,
key image.
no matter what happens. I'm yours forever. Sarah. My one, my only. Will you marry me?
Yes.
She said yes!
Who's he talking to?
He's obviously live streaming the entire thing, right?
True. But that was when it was still Justin TV.
Gotta love these fireworks. They granted my wish.
Your wish.
Before I asked you to marry me, I wish that you would say yes.
Then maybe
I thought
they'll
you were
grant
supposed
mine,
to
too.
ask the person and, like,
What's
you know, get a rough idea
Have the courage
if
to
you're on the
tell
same
Lightning
page in a relationship
that
before you
Kamala
just.
see.
Hey, our engagement
It's
is
a lot more
way
work than just
bigger news.
waiting for some fireworks.
It's true, it's Snow's character, right? He just charges in.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I can't wait to see her face.
And then you like how he's like, yeah, you know, the fact that you're going to
She
be a
might be
monster
sister.
or a crystal, it's still a bigger deal that we're getting married
Yeah.
first.
Whoa!
You see, because of the dome, I always assume that this was all just like projected CG light future tech or something.
Right. But It seems like actual fireworks, just like inside a silencer to not disturb the neighbors.
Yeah.
Hey, Snow?
Yeah. That was close.
Could have seen that happening.
Gorgeous.
I'm sure nobody cares. There's like 2 people for the Guardian Force here.
All we need. Just you and me.
It is kind of nice that there isn't really a will they won't they storyline in this. We kind of have the romantic relationship just spelled out at the beginning of the game. And we're back.
Is this for real?
Hey, is that the thing from the flashback?
This must
It's not
be
glowing, so it can't be.
Lake Brescia? I guess we fell from up there. And the lake turned to crystal? Help me out here. I mean, did the Foul Sea do this?
Yeah, it was a really nice cutscene. You should
How
have
in the
watched
world
it.
did we end up
Yeah.
here?
How should I know?
We're alive. How?
Sarah! No one survives a fall from that high, not without a miracle. Sarah saved us!
Sarah, listen. It's all your fault. She got...
Hey, 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 hey! Watch out!
Why did I just do
Is that Frost Strike?
You used magic! You used the power of the sea! The Foul Sea cursed us! We're the sea now!
Right.
Paradigms!
Oh,
This is a great system. I think I ended up actually showing the next tutorials, but basically you have different modes of attack. You're basically changing your jobs mid-combat. There are benefits to each of the jobs, and there are benefits to switching in combat also. The combats go very fast initially, so it's going to be hard to cover everything that's going on, but we'll get through it.
So we really are Lassie.
Snow got this tattoo he doesn't remember.
Looks like it. You too?
Happy night of drinking.
Yep. Right here.
Okay.
One of these things is not
Proceed
like
to
the
the
others.
Why me? I don't even know you! But you have to go and attack that thing? Just leave me alone! It's your fault. It's your fault, You could have. All of this is your and Sarah's fault! Watch it!
sorry.
Everything is gonna be all right. You'll see. Come on. Off we go.
Yeah, you're just an arch enemy of everything that you were raised to care about.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is not your typical JRPG party of everybody banding together for a
Playing
quest.
Team Poke now. Why me?
So it was actually covered in the data log a little bit. I always like the character model. Oh yeah, let's just do paradigms because I don't know how pacing works. So each character can have some subset of the classes available, and you can set them up to have different decks. So basically, each of your characters that's in your party, you can swap to at any point what their role in combat is. Commando is useful for doing damage, but also limiting the amount of drain that happens to the stagger bar. Ravager increases the amount of stagger generated. Medic increases healing. Sentinel is your tank style one. And then spoilers, there's some more that we get. And basically, whenever you swap your deck, you get a little bit of an ATB bonus depending on how long the animation is. So you're never actually limited, but it can also sometimes give you basically a full ATB bar, so you can immediately do another set of attacks. And swapping between paradigms is useful for speeding up combat, but also doing the combat successfully to begin with. It's a fun system to play with. It definitely takes a little bit to expand out, though.
Yeah, and you can see as you're going through the different character status and ability pages here that they don't all have the same classes available. But most of them at least have more than one.
Except for Saz.
Yeah.
Saz is just a Ravager right now.
Yeah.
We're going through some of the abilities. A lot of these are basically elemental attacks, non-elemental attacks, physical versions of elemental attacks. The data log actually goes over this. There are no physical... There's no abilities that give you arrow and earth as an enhancement on basic attacks or something along those lines. I'm misremembering exactly what I read. But so elemental exploitation becomes a big thing to try and focus on now. And we'll get into some more details of that a little bit. But what I was saying, when that cutscene that we get branded in plays, I always just assumed that was anima and it was just cutscene model instead of in-game model. Like they just look different because it was magic version or whatever. The data log actually does cover it. It is not actually anima that is branding you. It is some other entity in void space.
If we don't know our focus, how do we complete it?
Oh, I didn't realize the data log told you that.
Yeah.
I think I saw it.
Saw what?
That is how focus comes down, people. The FALC, they don't spell it out with clear-cut instructions. All you get is a hazy glimpse. Well, you know, that's what they say.
Yeah, no one likes documenting.
Legends and all. Legends. Yeah.
Did you see anything?
I just... It's all kind of foggy, but I saw this big, towering...
What? Wait a minute. Hold on now. Do we all have the same dream?
Ragnarok.
So, we all
How do
saw
they
the
not know what to
same
do
dream.
after seeing that?
We all heard that same voice.
We have to somehow grow 12 hands.
You mean that was our focus? But how are we supposed to know what to do from that?
That's the tricky part. The dream's the only hint the FALC gives us. Figuring out what to do with it, that's our job.
Okay. we're post-Lassie, right? Enemies a Cocoon. So, does that mean that our focus is... Are we supposed to...
Save her.
Say what?
Our focus is to protect Cocoon.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's it.
And why's that?
Sarah told us. Let's do it. We're all in this together. I'm gonna look for Sarah. She ought to be nearby.
I'll come too. Wait!
Jeez. Yeah, that boy can't stay still.
Really?
Snow is like painfully optimistic.
Yes. And it works out for him?
Oh, the Crystarium.
So yeah, the Crystarium is basically our level up system. We don't get straight experience
We need to find a
points,
way
we
out
get
of here. We can worry about everything else
Christogenesis
later.
points. It's just abbreviated CP. Yeah. Conceptually, it's very similar to the sphere grid, but with less control. You're basically just going down a path. We'll cover. I'll go into the Crystarium in a little bit once we actually get some Crystarium points, because we don't receive Crystarium during all of the previous chapters.
Well, you weren't Lassie then, so you could only gain those points now.
So I did a paradigm shift at the very end, and it ended up not doing anything there. But it plays a cool animation the first time you do it in a given combat. Just checking the shop. Added a couple extra items. We can't afford anything. You get very little gil initially. You are expected to sell items to get gil as you need it. I can't remember if we got a previous drop or not, but the credit chip in particular is purely a vendor item. Yeah, we have some there.
There's quite a few vendor items, like vendor-only items as well.
I can't remember if this game actually calls out vendor-only items or not, though. It's been a while since I looked at the
I think the
explicit
description
text.
says something like... I don't remember. It says something like implying it's like only uses to sell it.
It's always better when games do that. Debating here, and she didn't have an accessory on, so let's put that on. The medic paradigm roll does also enhance potions, so it's not completely worthless now that we have a medic.
It's not always the most clear what this terrain was before it crystallized. Like, obviously you're on a lake, but there's non-lake structures around too.
I think the force of the Fal'Cie crashing into the water also disrupted a whole bunch of things. So like there's maybe some ships, or like maybe there were ruins underneath the water and the wake opened them up a little bit.
I guess we did see some of the roads and stuff collapsing down as well,
Yeah.
but
Some of it looks a little bit more temple ruin-like rather than infrastructure, like modern infrastructure. I think it's
which makes
hard.
sense. They call this the Cocoon Lowlands, I think,
Yeah.
in the area scene. And they previously had mentioned that this is kind of the area of Cocoon that had been destroyed in one of the wars prior.
If their strikes still work the same now that we're Lassie, potentially just easier to execute on. I can't remember if this is the first game that introduced Ruin. I'm sure like probably Final Fantasy 11 had it or something, but Ruin is a non-elemental magic attack. Because there is so much focus on exploiting elemental bonuses, they needed a version that was neutral but still a magic attack because of the way the resistances work on enemies. This is the first place I remember seeing Ruin and being confused at what it was.
I thought it was an FF12, but a quick Google search tells me I'm wrong. So I don't know what I'm confusing it for. This area does look really cool, and I remember it being very impressive at the time this game came out.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of your frost levels and all of that, especially when the music conveys the same like emotion. The area with Shiva in Final Fantasy X, when you're going down to that temple, I like that.
Magic may be cursed, but it makes
but
us stronger.
while I was running through this, I
To
couldn't.
stop us from putting it to good
I don't
use.
know if it's actually cold, right?
Right, because it's crystal, not necessarily frost.
Exactly. But now, does a crystal element
what
have
happened to
effect on the
everyone else.
surroundings? They don't act like they're being chilled. It all has that cold
We fight
appearance,
it.
so you just kind of think
Ragnarok.
that it's.
Yeah.
That's the reason we're Lassie. To stop it. To keep Cocoon safe.
Yeah, why don't you give us one reason to believe that? One reason.
Sarah. She said to protect Cocoon. And then
Had
she
one.
turned to Crystal. That's the proof right there.
It's his one
She
reason.
completed her
She is
focus.
his one.
That means ours is to save Cocoon. Sarah's fal'Cie was the same as ours. Our focus has got to be the same. We were chosen to be guardians.
Do we know
to
that?
defeat Ragnarok. It makes sense.
What the hell it does? You're grasping at straws, son. Post fal'Cie are Cocoon's enemies. We just got recruited by one of them. If I were a betting man, I'd put us on the other side.
So Sarah's an enemy too? Well, I don't buy it.
Well,
We
not
have
your
the power
enemy.
to save Cocoon if we work together and carry out our focus.
The fal'Cie took Sarah from us, and you want to help it? Whose side are you on?
Freeze! Place your hands behind your heads! You fall off the purge train?
Maybe.
Or are you talking back to me? Huh? Huh?
Nice gun.
Stop her! Freeze!
So I said yes to this tutorial, not knowing what it was going to cover. It's what we covered before. You can enter abilities by hand. I don't know why this is a separate tutorial, why it's happening at this point in the game. I don't know if it's because I skipped the ones earlier or what. But yeah, ATB bars. It seems like a weird place for this tutorial. It's also not the first time we've had 3 ATB bars when we were controlling Vanille. She had 3 armors already.
It's only Lightning that just got it, I think.
No,
Well, and I guess Snow would have.
yeah.
I thought they'd be tougher than that. This guy's a SciComm, yeah? Supposed to be cream of the crop.
Yeah, but SciComm's an anti-pulse task force. They haven't fought a war in centuries. Bunch of rookie troops swinging around overpriced toys.
So, from what you're telling me, sounds like a regular old soldier has got more training than special forces.
Nothing for us Lassie to be afraid of.
Cut the crap. Their grunts might be green, but SciComm's elites are cold-blooded beasts. They hit the field and it's game over.
Uh-oh. Then let's run away. Ciao!
Hey, wait!
Seems like a good idea.
What's a man to do?
Gotta keep moving some way. And Hope has another opportunity to get a gun instead of a boomerang. Doesn't take it.
He has magic now. He's fine. It's like Snow said, nothing for us Lassie to worry about. It pains me that I kind of agree with Snow's logic back there, though. Like, for their focus being to save Cocoon, and like Saz is mostly basing his bet off of the like prejudice against Pulse.
But also, the thing that they're talking about Ragnarok, it's covered in the data log, was basically a large summon that was instrumental in the last, I think it's the War of Transgression, and it's the entity that tore the hole in Cocoon that is depicted on his necklace. So, if they think that it's Ragnarok, the fact that they need to destroy Cocoon, kind of, like, depending on which side you're interpreting it from. Like, are you supposed to be Ragnarok, or are you protecting against Ragnarok? Like, yeah, there's...
True.
It's definitely left a lot to interpretation when giving you a clear-cut goal.
With pretty steep penalties for not completing it.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
Oh yes, objectively the best enemies in this area. The Brescia Bass.
Bass in particular just hurt at this point. I think after this combat I end up going to the Crystarium just so I get some additional stats. They set these encounters up to try and teach you to use your paradigm shifts and some of the default roles for the other ones. I refuse to play their game, and it does end up fighting me.
Yeah, they probably wanted you to use the medic here.
Medic and Sentinel in particular, yeah.
But hey, you 5-starred anyway.
That's what matters. They're not all 5 stars. I can't remember, it's coming up, but I do finally remember that I have a technique available before the tutorial shows up. So I end up futzing around with the technique or whatever, delaying.
Preemptive strikes really do make a huge difference now that you have Ravagers available.
Just stay out of my way.
It's also, you've gotten quite a few of them in this area compared to how
Yeah, definitely.
sparse they were, like opportunities for them those previously.
Hey, I used Libra for the first time. So that's a technique. You can build up TP, technique points, by getting 5 stars and by using full ATB bars in combat. Libra is the only technique we have at this time. And basically what it does is it gives you additional information about the enemies. That's pivotal when using the auto battle and for your non-player teammates, because they will do actions based on the information that you have on that enemy. So as you find out resistances and elemental weaknesses and stuff like that, they will use different skills for the auto select, so it ends up speeding up your re-encounters with certain enemies. I wish that there was some information in combat if you knew everything for it without having to go to the pause menu. But there is if you right bumper in combat, it does bring up the data log for the enemy. And I believe we're going to the Crystarium for the first time here. Maybe, eventually.
Also known as the spiky sphere grid.
Yeah. So the Crystarium, there's a Crystarium for each role that the character has at the time. You are dumping a single pool of CP into all of their roles. So I had 282 CP going into here, and once I come out of here, I cannot then put 282 into the Ravager roll for lightning. I'll have whatever I have left here. Stat points, basically anything that's an orb is character specific. Anything that's a spiky yellow crystal is role specific. So HP bonuses, attack bonuses, that kind of stuff, that's shared across all roles. So going into the other trees is beneficial just from a general character build standpoint.
One of what I found to be like more annoying parts of this system is while there's like a set amount of CP that it takes to get from node to node, you don't have very precise control over how much you dump into it. You just kind of hold X or A depending on the console, and it just continually dumps it in until you get to the next one. So
it does tell you how much you need to get to the next node, or when you're on a new node. And if you ever hit a junction point, like that's a junction point, it will wait for a analog stick input for direction, but if you have a bad dead zone on your controller, you can easily dump points where you didn't necessarily want to. But none of those branching paths are particularly long. I think there's maybe like 5 or 6 nodes on any given branching path at most. You are pretty much always building towards the next tier.
And you're generally not really short any CP, so like worst case, you just go take an extra fight, and you can probably, if you made a mistake, you can probably correct it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So I'll be going into the Crystarium periodically. I'm going to try to cover some of the abilities that we unlocked, but eventually the ability lists get fairly long. I'll probably end up trying to stay over the crystals that I unlock that have abilities like Flame Strike there. It'll tell you at the top of the screen what it does, but a lot of them are self-explanatory. Most of the ones that are element strike are your physical element types, and regular fire, water, arrow are the standard magic versions. We got like Life Siphon, which is just basically an opening attack for Commando. Does extra damage when there is no stagger meter on an enemy yet. Steel Guard, Flame Ward, stuff like that. All resistances to physical
I might as well
or
make introductions.
elemental attacks.
I'm Snow Villiers. Short stuff?
Hope Estime.
What about her?
Bodum Security Regiment. She goes by Lightning. Last name's Farron. First, anybody's guess.
Vanille.
Saz, Catsroy. Good to meet you.
Only now do they introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Why kids have to get dragged into this?
I'll keep the kids out of trouble.
Problem with that is, you're one of them.
Hey,
Trying to take on the post-Foul C. That was our first mistake. We should have left it to the Sanctum. Why not? I mean, we've counted on the Sanctum's Foul C for food, water, everything we've needed since the time we were born.
but you still helped us do it. Why's that?
So weird.
Gotta be something.
There might have been. Not so sure anymore.
Saz is like way more secretive than Lightning.
Yeah, and then Vanille has more information than she's letting on, but no one
Undown purge survivors
acknowledges
now.
that.
The game acknowledges it and giving her a narrator role, but yeah, it's not acknowledged like in universe by the characters.
Yeah, the HP scaling of some of the enemies in this area, like, I don't understand why this combat encounter is kind of set up as, like, there's a little area that you go into in the next one. It seems like it's going to be real drastic, and then it's 2 of those dog enemies compared to the 5 Bresh and Bass that we fought, and it took a significantly longer time. You can also control which paradigm you go into combat with, which is useful, but you have to go through the paradigm deck dialogue all the way through, so it's not something you want to fiddle with constantly. It's a lot of menuing. But if you're going into a boss fight that you're having some issues with, it might be beneficial to switch up what your default paradigm is. For these, you totally just want to have raw damage.
These are basically the same enemies from the very beginning part, except now you're actually allowed to have levels.
Yeah, I'm wondering maybe that's the intent of having those combats, is like, look how much stronger you are now.
Yeah, assuming you actually spent the Crystarium points. But
I mean, even with just the elemental, like being able to do that, have larger ATB and stuff like that, I think they still die faster too. Some strange fluid.
I guess eventually we'll unlock the upgrade system with all the weird items we're getting.
Yeah, I don't know when that actually shows up. We still just have the 2 shops as the options right now. And the data log covers it in the Libra discussion. You don't necessarily need to use Libra to find all the information for a given enemy. If you happen to try every element, or if it's neutral in some way, you get some amount of information when you just regularly defeat an enemy. So I don't actually have to Libra everything to learn everything from every enemy, but it's a good reference point for, hey, I got this. The only way to tell if you have all the information is to go into the data logs, enemy intel, and navigate through, I think it's like 5 menus deep for the specific enemy that you just encountered to know if you got all the information on that. There's a check mark on the dialogue. Even when you open up the sub-menu that shows the elemental weakness, it does not say on that window itself. Which...
Sarah.
Got a little throne.
Sarah.
Don't worry though, Snow will fix it. This will get her out, like she's simply encased in the crystal and not herself crystallized.
This is goodbye.
Lightning! You're just gonna leave her?
Psycom will be here soon. If they find us, we're all dead. You think Sarah'd want that? You think you know how she feels?
If I leave her, then I'll never know. We'll be fine. I can handle anything they throw at us. No one will die. I'll protect Sarah. And Cocoon.
He's very confident that no one will die.
Does she
It has nothing to do with
protect
anybody
you?
else's storyline.
I can save her!
What can you possibly do?
Whatever it takes!
That last punch's recoil animation on Snow is pretty good, though.
You just can't admit it. You want to stay as much as he does. Huh? Whoa, whoa! No, no! No, no, no! Not now!
So this is the thing that Saz and Lightning fought at the beginning of the game. And now we're more powerful, so it should be fine, right?
Yeah. Unless it was only using a percentage of its full power.
Stand back!
This is covering effectively what we've discussed up to this point. What it tells you to do seems a little counterintuitive on how the system works. It wants you to heal up at the end of a stagger meter. Staggering an enemy will occasionally interrupt its attack flow. They'll basically act differently when they're staggered. So that can be beneficial, but that's also the window opportunity to get the most damage in. And yeah, this guy hurts. It very much wants you to have Snow as a sentinel to try and get some of the aggro focus, but it also does AoE damage, and Provoke doesn't force them to attack someone. It's encouraged. So I think I actually had a couple of wipes, because once Lightning dies, it's game over. Checkpoints are pretty nice in this game, so it wasn't a huge setback, but this is the
Stay out of my way.
the first fight that you really have to use paradigm shifting. And even without being a Sentinel, Snow still is a tank.
You can see, like, on the bosses where you have the larger where the stagger duration is longer, you get up to like 700% damage there, so it's very effective to boost that up.
Yeah, once you learn how to exploit the stagger meter in this game, you can melt some bosses. You'll still be holding to some stat allocation stuff for how much raw damage you do, but the multiplier is pretty huge.
You're leaving?
We want to help Sarah too. But without tools, we could be digging for days. The army's on our trail. So for now, we gotta keep moving. For now.
So I just abandoned her and saved myself?
What about your focus? What happened to banding together and saving the world? Isn't that what you promised? Now you want to forget it all and die right here? Snow, you're nothing but talk.
Lightning! I'll do whatever it takes. I'll finish this focus and keep Sarah safe. That's my promise.
Great job so far.
Stay out of trouble.
You do.
Get going.
But
Later.
Okay.
Snow,
Save it for next time, kiddo. You'll get left behind.
but
It's okay, Hope. Light'll take care of you. We'll meet again.
yeah, count on it.
Do you think Lightning is actually the warrior of light?
No.
I'll get you out of there.
Back to work.
I was watching that entire cutscene. I didn't realize that Snow's like undershirt has 2 zippers on the same shirt. I'm trying to figure out the logistics of how that actually. It just seems complicated. Why? I don't know if Tetsuya Nomura did character design for this one or not.
I'm not sure either.
There's plenty of buckles that have no home.
I think, you know, they probably had quotas to meet.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, at least in this game, really don't like Lightning as a character very much. But, like, I at least think here, she's kind of more understandable than, I would say, Saz or Vanille. Like, everybody's motivations are pretty clear except those two.
Yeah. Hope's just too young of a kid to really be able to process his emotions. A lot of shit's happened, and it started with his mom dying. Like,
yeah, he clearly just hasn't had much time to process things, nor does he have, like, much of a choice in where he is right now.
And he just... His parent figure is Vanille just pushing him along. Like, yeah, just keep going. I still don't necessarily like Hope's storyline, but it's an understandable character development. Vanille is kind of metagamey, since, as you pointed out earlier, she's the narrator. So there is obviously stuff going on that the characters in Universe don't know about. But Saz from a... Like, Saz is the dad. And I think that works, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of information we don't know about why he's here, why he's with Lightning.
Yeah.
The data log even specifically says Saz teamed up for some reason.
Right. And, like, Lightning may be, you know, very much her personality, but it's no secret that her motivation was Sarah from the very beginning of the game. But every time you get close to, like, asking Saz, like, why are you even still here? He's just like, I can't really talk about it.
Kids.
But also, I know all this stuff, like, oh, but it's just what the legends say.
Yeah. I read it in a book somewhere.
Stay sharp.
When you've been alive in this world for however old Saz is, then you obviously deal with Lassie all the time, even though it seems like it's very rare that they have to deal with Lassie.
The way they talked about Lassie made it seem like it, people almost thought it was just legends, so I think it's one of those things where it's like common throughout the time span of history, but not necessarily common within somebody's lifetime.
Yeah.
It's actually probably really weird that there is even like, you know, what, 5 or 6 of them right now?
Simultaneously, and they all share the same focus, seemingly.
I hope Snow's okay.
Gotta do cool jumps.
Right into, like, I could have probably done a preemptive if I came the normal way, but I had to jump down there.
I think jumping down should have given you the preemptive strike, let's be
that's
honest.
kind of what I was hoping. Yeah, the TP game seems to gain basically 1 point every 2 or 3 encounters, probably closer to 3 or 4, as long as you get 5 stars. So doing Libra pretty regularly isn't a huge loss. I can't remember if there's an item to replenish TP later on, as it's as close to NP as you have in this game. So something like an ether would be possible.
I actually don't remember because it replenishes quickly enough that I don't recall it ever really being an issue normally.
We got some new guns for Saz.
Danib Duelers. Both of his guns are Constellation references.
Yeah. And I had just swapped him to the damage up, so now he gets that. Because the new guns are magic focused, and he does have flame and stuff like that. It's a little hard to tell how you should be speccing people for now. You do have to mess around with equipment a little bit more later on if you're going into difficult combat. But here it's basically you don't have a lot of choice, so whatever has higher numbers.
I usually end up changing equipment pretty often late in the I shouldn't say late in the game, but later on in the game as well.
Roger the critical path.
You gotta kill the fish things.
Well, we froze their livelihood, so, or crystallized their livelihood, but also Saz's guns are gold, so just one shot to everything now, right?
What I'm kind of curious about it, did they grow those legs before the lake was a crystal, or was that just also, you know, foul seed magic?
They were the bottom-dwelling bass that got pushed to the surface under the crystallization.
Oh, sure. We need a cocoon zoologist.
Yeah. Before I realized the checkmark in the data log told you whether or not you had all the information for a given enemy, I spent entirely too long trying to get the Blood Fang bass, because they have basically no HP, and the data log just specifically says they have very little HP. Like that's its only defining factor, is that they just die too quickly.
Nobody's ever been able to study them.
Yeah.
Still couldn't talk to him.
Yeah, I'm trying to show off the environment a little bit, but not necessarily stand there and look at it. A lot of times I'm actually fighting a camera. It very much wants to
exactly
pan
how I
in certain ways in some situations. It gets a little wobbly. And while it's an analog stick for movement, there's really only two speeds, either full run or walk that's a crawl.
These guys are gonna melt with a preemptive strike at this point. Yeah, that's about what I expected.
Yeah, we really haven't even put any points into the Crystarium. I think we're more than double the points that we had last time we went in there.
Can't you just get on that thing and fly it out of
Looks
here?
operational.
Or, you know, do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many guns you activate by slashing with a sword, but seemingly works.
It felt threatened. She just activated the self-defense mechanism.
This is a very long preemptive strike.
Yeah, we have to go through all of them one at a time.
And the ordering is weird sometimes. Probably would have been more beneficial to actually focus the aggression back for the insta-staggers. But with so many enemies trying to navigate and figure out the specific one that I wanted was nigh impossible. Zaz died. Or fainted. No one ever actually dies, right?
And of course, it doesn't really matter because he's not the main character.
Exactly. Got these first Phoenix down. Of course, I let Lightning get a bit close.
Just stay out of my way.
And yeah,
That's
heals
fine.
don't go off instantly. They have to. The healing orb of magic has to hit the target before the heal applies, so you can get killed in that meantime.
So they're just comically gold.
Are they even gold? They might just be yellow.
Yeah, true. I guess it's pretty muted.
So we're gonna take a break there. We have some interesting encounters coming up next time. Thanks for watching.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.